away, and I'll hand over to Peter O'Sullivan.
And they're running, and Capability Brown disputing it with Young Hustler, with Windy Waves third as they come to the first. Young Hustler lands in the lead over the first, and they're all safely over it with Flash the Cash, the back marker, and Young Hustler going on from Windy Waves and Capability Brown on the inside, and then Mr. Red, followed by Fighting Words. Over the second, Latent Talent jumped it next, then Very, Very Ordinary, and finally Flash the Cash, and now coming to the first of the ditches. Going a real good gallop and well strung out already. And Young Hustler lands in the lead from Windy Waves, who jumps it second. Then Mr. Red and Capability Brown on the inside. Fighting Words comes next. A little gap then to Latent Talent, Very, Very Ordinary, and Flash the Cash. The water now for the first time. Young Hustler lands in the lead over it from Windy Waves, Mr. Red, and Capability Brown. And once again, a little gap to Fighting Words, who's followed by Latent Talent, Very, Very Ordinary, and Flash the Cash. Young Hustler, the top weight, setting out to make all the running from Mr. Red, the Midlands Grand National winner. Windy Waves comes next. A little gap there now to Capability Brown and Fighting Words, and that was the fifth. And Latent Talent came next, then Very, Very Ordinary and Flash the Cash. They race towards number 6, and it's Young Hustler from Mr. Red, Windy Waves and Capability Brown and Fighting Words, and Latent Talent and Very, Very Ordinary and Flash the Cash. Second of the ditches now. Young Hustler, Windy Waves and Mr. Red, Latent Talent, Capability Brown and Fighting Words, Very, Very Ordinary and Flash the Cash. Number 8 of the 20 fences in all, Young Hustler. Beautiful jump there in the lead from Windy Waves, Capability Brown, Mr. Red, Latent Talent, Fighting Words, Very, Very Ordinary and Flash the Cash. Turning into the straight now on the first circuit, and still Young Hustler, Mr. Red having lost a place or two when he slipped then, you may have noticed. Young Hustler from Capability Brown over on the far side, over the 9th, Windy Waves, Latent Talent nearest to us. Mr. Red, then Fighting Words, Very, Very Ordinary, and Flash the Cash. Number 10, Young Hustler. Latent Talent moving into second. Windy Waves third and 4, Capability Brown and 5, Mr. Red, 6, Fighting Words, 7, Flash the Cash, and 8, Very, Very Ordinary, who has to be held up anyway. Coming down to the winning post now with a complete circuit, and Young Hustler, 5 lengths to 2 lengths from Latent Talent, Capability Brown on the inside, then Windy Waves, Mr. Red going well on the outer. A gap then of about 4 to 5 lengths to Fighting Words, then Very, Very Ordinary, and finally Flash the Cash. A mile and a half to run now in the Betterware Cup, and Young Hustler, the favorite, still leading him from Latent Talent in second. Capability Brown and Mr. Red matching strides ahead of Windy Waves, then Fighting Words, Flash the Cash, and Very, Very Ordinary over the 11th. Young Hustler lands clear of Latent Talent. Capability Brown, Mr. Red getting reminders, Fighting Words getting closer, coming down to the 12th. Young Hustler from Latent Talent and Capability Brown. Windy Waves then being chased along. In 5th is Fighting Words and getting a little bit closer, coming to the 3rd of the ditches now. Young Hustler from Latent Talent, Capability Brown, Windy Waves, Fighting Words, Mr. Red, Very, Very Ordinary, and Flash the Cash down to the water for the final time. Young Hustler from Latent Talent, Capability Brown, Windy Waves and Fighting Words. Then Very, Very Ordinary, Mr. Red, who's lost 4 or 5 places, and then Flash the Cash. 6 left to jump now, with the favorite, Young Hustler, still taking him along from Latent Talent, Capability Brown. Windy Waves and Fighting Words getting closer all the time now, and Very, Very Ordinary making progress from the rear as they come down to the 15th. Young Hustler lands in the lead from Capability Brown and Latent Talent and Capability Brown, and then Fighting Words still getting closer under Declan Murphy. 5 out, and Young Hustler landed in the lead from Latent Talent. Windy Ways, the final ditch, 4 from home this is. Young Hustler from Latent Talent. Young Hustler and Latent Talent together, and Latent Talent jumps to the front. It's Latent Talent now from Young Hustler. Then comes Windy Ways, Capability Brown, and Fighting Words under pressure. 3 from home. Latent Talent lands in the lead from Young Hustler. Windy Ways jumps at 3rd. 4 Fighting Words. 5 is Capability Brown, turning into the home stretch now with 2 fences left to jump, and Latent Talent under Mark Richards. Young Hustler under Carl Llewellyn. These two, Young Hustler goes back into the lead now as they race towards the second last. It's Young Hustler from Latent Talent as they come to the second last fence. Young Hustler, the favourite, jumps the second last, clear of Latent Talent. Fighting Words jumps at 3rd, racing towards the final fence now. And Young Hustler, the top weight, putting up a tremendous performance here as he comes to the final fence with a 6-length advantage over Latent Talent, and surely just has to jump it. Young Hustler comes to the final fence and jumps it cleanly. Gets a great cheer as he does so. Latent Talent jumps it 2nd. Fighting Words struggles over it in 3rd and racing up towards the line. And Carl Llewellyn permits himself the luxury of a look over his right shoulder. Sees no danger whatsoever. A double for him, a double for Nigel Twiston-Davies. Young Hustler the winner. 2nd is Latent Talent. 3rd is Fighting Words. 4 is Windy Ways. 5 is Very, Very Ordinary. And 6 is Mr. Red. And that's the result of the Betterware Cup. First, number 1, Young Hustler, owned by Mr. G.M. McEachran, trained by Nigel Twiston-Davies and ridden by Carl Llewellyn. 2nd was number 4, Latent Talent, owned by Mr. Christopher Heath, trained by Simon Sherwood and ridden by Mark Richards. 3rd was number 6, Fighting Words, owned by Pall Mall Partners, trained by Josh Gibbard and ridden by Declan Murphy. And 4th was number 8, Windy Ways. 11-8 the winner, and Young Hustler immediately gets a 5-1 quote for the King George from William Hill. He gets a 5-1 quote also from Sporting Index and also from Corals, and Ladbrokes go 4-1 from 6-1 Young Hustler for the King George. Here he is, the hero of the Betterware Cup, Young Hustler.